Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about paraphrasing. So paraphrasing is a really important skill that you use when you are researching. We also can use it when we're doing races. So paraphrasing is basically restating something that the author said in your own words. Okay, so I made this this document that has some different strategies you can use to paraphrase. So we'll run through those real quick, and then we're going to paraphrase the paragraph together. So the first strategy here is that you can replace a subject with a pronoun. So for example, if the original sentence was Dr. King fought for civil rights, a paraphrase version of that could be he fought for civil rights. If we had already known that the paragraph was about Dr. King, later in the paragraph, we could replace that with he. We can replace words with synonyms, other words that mean about the same thing. So instead of saying he was a nice boy, I could say he was a sweet and kind boy. I really like this one. We call it the switcheroo. So in the switcheroo, you take the beginning and the end of the sentence and you flip them around. So look at this example. In the summer, most teachers get a second job. We can easily paraphrase that by saying most teachers get a second job in the summer. You see, I'm giving you the same information, but it sounds different by flipping that around. Number 4, we can delete words and phrases that don't change the meaning of the word, of the sentence. So I'm realizing this is a little light. So for example, at Van Buren Elementary, the long hallways are filled with the excited sounds of learning and love. I can eliminate some of these words to say, at Van Buren Elementary, the halls are filled with learning and love. So I took out some words, and the sentence still has the same meaning. If we have a long sentence, we could break it into 2 sentences. So look at this example. My dogs, Stella and Dwight, love to sleep and run around in the backyard. I can add a period in the middle there and turn this into 2 sentences. My dogs, Stella and Dwight, love to sleep, period. They also love running around the backyard. So we took one long sentence and broke it into 2 parts. The opposite of that is the next strategy. We can take 2 sentences and combine them into 1. So I did this example backwards. My dogs, Stella and Dwight, love to sleep. They also love running around the backyard. I could paraphrase that by saying, my dogs, Stella and Dwight, love to sleep and run around in the backyard. So if you have 2 sentences, you can put them together. If you have one long sentence, you can split it into 2 sentences. And then you can just write the same thing in a completely different way. So here's an example. I've been planting new trees and flowers in my yard to make it look beautiful. Paraphrase that. I'm changing the way that my yard looks with new trees and flowers. Here's a tip. If you combine more than one strategy, you're going to do a great job of paraphrasing. So this one is a good example right here. My dogs, Stella and Dwight, love to sleep. They also love running around the backyard. So one thing I did there was split it into 2 sentences. I also, instead of saying their names again, I used the word they. So that's number 1. I used a pronoun, okay? So you can combine things together, different strategies together, to do an even better job of paraphrasing. So we're going to try some of these out with this article that I have here about Okapi, okay? So I'm going to read through the paragraph first, and then we're going to work together to use some of the strategies you see to paraphrase the paragraph. So let's read it first. It's related to giraffes. The okapi, pronounced okapi, is a beautiful and unusual animal. With its white and black striped hindquarters and front legs, it looks like it must be related to zebras. But take a look at an okapi's head, and you'll notice a resemblance to giraffes. The okapi is indeed the only living relative of the giraffe. Like a giraffe, the okapi has very large upright ears which catch even slight sounds, helping the animal avoid trouble. The okapi also has a long, dark, prehensile tongue, just like a giraffe's, to help it strip the buds and young leaves from the understory brush of its rainforest home. Okay, so I'm going to start, and then I'm going to ask you guys for some input. So I'm going to start with the beginning here. All right, so it started out by saying it's related to giraffes. The okapi is a beautiful and unusual animal. With its white and black striped hindquarters and front legs, it looks like it might be related to zebras. So I might start out by saying something like, the okapi is beautiful and unusual. I might say so here I just kind of rephrased this. I got rid of the word animal. I just said it's beautiful and unusual. So let's take a look at this part. They're talking about the stripes on its front and back legs, and then it might be related to zebras. So I'm going to try switching that around. It, instead of the okapi, it is often confused with a relative of the zebra because it has striped legs. So I changed hindquarters and front legs to just legs. I took out white and black and just wrote striped. And instead of saying it looks like it's related to the zebra at the end, I put that at the beginning, that it's often confused with a relative of the zebra. So here I took a few different strategies. I did a switcheroo. I replaced the subject with a pronoun. I eliminated some words that I didn't need. So there I did a few things to paraphrase. So I'm going to be asking you to help me out with resembling some of the next part. Let's look at this next sentence. But take a look at an okapi's head, and you will notice a resemblance to giraffes. Who can help me paraphrase that? So I want to say the same thing, but in my own words, in another way. How can we rephrase that sentence in your own words? You could try a switcheroo. If you have an idea, just call it out.
Their heads are very similar
To
a giraffe's.
Yeah, that's great. So instead of saying an okapi, very similar. So instead of saying you'll notice a resemblance, I'm saying they look similar. Great job. To giraffes. Perfect. All right, let's go to the next part. The okapi is indeed the only living relative of the giraffe. Can somebody help me out with paraphrasing that part? Let's say it another way. The okapi is indeed the only living relative of the giraffe.
You can say the okapi is the only living relative to the giraffe.
Well, you pretty much said the whole thing, Jonah. So
you can take out living relative.
Say that again.
You could take out living relative.
So the okapi is indeed the only of the giraffe?
The okapi is the only relative to.
1 second. Sorry. So, Jonah, let's try and switch it around. The giraffe's only living relative. How could I finish that?
are the okapi.
Are the okapi. Good. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. All right, good job, Jonah. All right, this next sentence has a lot of information. So we might have to collaborate a little bit. Like a giraffe, the okapi has very large, upright ears, which catch even slight sounds, helping the animal avoid trouble. So I'm noticing a few different strategies we could use here. We could do a switcheroo. We could delete extra words. We could break this really long sentence into smaller sentences. There are a few different things you could try. Like a giraffe, the okapi has very large, upright ears, which catch even slight sounds, helping the animal avoid trouble. Who's got an idea?
The okapi have very good ears that help them stay alive.
The okapi have, can we change really good ears? Let's look at how they described it. They describe them as large and upright. So let's try and pick a word that means one of those things.
They have big
ears. Perfect. They have big ears that help them stay alive. How do they help them stay alive? Stella?
by helping them hear.
By helping them hear, is that what you said? Sorry, can you repeat that, William?
Yeah, they help by helping them hear better.
The ears help them to hear. Can we give a little more information? Let's look at this part. The upright ears, which catch even slight sounds. What would be another way to say slight sounds? Would a slight sound be really big and loud? Or would it be small, soft, maybe distant?
Quiet.
Yeah, helping them to hear even quiet sounds. Man, I can't type today. All right. Here. So again, we can do a switcheroo. We can replace words, remove words. We can split it into 2 sentences. Let's think about what the sentence is telling us. They're describing the tongue and comparing it to the giraffe, and they're telling it how they use it and what they use the tongue for. So how can we restate this? Alma, can you help me here?
The okapi have very big, have very big tongues.
Great. I like how you put that into its own smaller sentence. Somebody else help me with what should our next sentence say if we want to include the rest of the information. Amma described the tongue. What else do we need to include?
Why they use the tongue or something?
Yeah, so let's review what the article told us. Just like the giraffes, to help it strip the buds and young leaves from the understory brush of its rainforest home. So something about, so they're basically pulling like flower buds and fruit buds and leaves off of the lower level of the trees in the rainforest for their food. So let's say that in our own words. The okapi have very big tongues. They use them to what do they use their tongues for?
To eat leaves.
To eat leaves. Perfect. Great job. All right, I'm going to reduce this from my screen. I'm going to come back to you. And hopefully you have a notebook or something next to you. And what I would like you to do right now is I'm going to set a timer for 30 seconds. And I want you to jot down, what do you remember or know about the okapi? Okay? You can just do it on scrap paper, anything you have near you. What do you remember? What do you know about the okapi? Are you ready? If everyone can please turn on your cameras, I need to be able to see you. Turn on your camera. There you are. Okay, 30 seconds. Jot down everything you can remember about the okapi. Go. Five seconds. Okay, stop. All right. So was anyone surprised about how much you remember? Yeah? Okay. The reason you remember so much about an animal you've probably never heard of is because we paraphrased it. So paraphrasing is not just something you do if you're writing about something. It's not just for research. It's something that readers do to help you remember and understand. Hey, Amari. It's something that readers do to help you remember and understand what you're reading. So if I were to just read that paragraph about the okapi one time, and then that was it, I probably wouldn't remember very much about it. But because we put it into different words, our brain was working with that information and making more connections. And so you remember so much more about it. Okay. So here's your job. In Google Forms, there's going to be another paragraph. This one's all about anacondas. You also have, I linked that document with the 7 strategies. Okay, so you're going to look at that also. Use those strategies and you're going to paraphrase the paragraph about the anacondas. Okay. Anybody have any questions? All right. Wonderful job. The okapi, Amari, is the animal we just read about. You stay on and I'll catch you up, okay? All right. Everybody else, go ahead and do your paraphrasing now, and then I'll see you in a few minutes for math. All right? Great job. Amari, stay here, hon.
Bye.